Mauri ora kia koutou, ko Janiene Hill taku ingoa, nō reira tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Ko wai au. I have 25 years experience as a classroom teacher and I have worked at my school for 7 years. Currently I feel isolated from others because I am a lone subject specialist, and although I have tried to encourage collaboration and innovation with others, mostly my ideas have fallen on deaf ears. Frustrated by a lack of change and status quo of at school and education as a whole, I facilitated a new direction for my learning. As a creative arts teacher, I see reflection as an iterative process that connects to making music. There are numerous experiments of sound before the piece can take shape. The stimulus is varied and takes you on different journeys depending on each idea path you head down, eventually leading to a finished whole. When viewing the iceberg from Anne Milne in Module 6, I was really confronted by one aspect in particular. I don't see colour, I see children. This stood out because I have put value in seeing students as equal and not treating them differently. I thought because I have lived in many other cultures and I value cultural difference, language and diversity, because I learned te reo and am beginning to understand more about te ao Māori, because I work hard to build relationships with all my students and create learning that allows them to access the curriculum at their level, that I was doing well at being inclusive and addressing cultural barriers. But in actual fact, I still have a long way to go. In reading about Mackenzie and Phillips' equity traps and unconscious bias in Blanket L, I realised that I am guilty of blaming students or their families for their deficits, and I have unconsciously expected less of some students, perpetuating the Pygmalion effect. And all of these actions are complicit in supporting the status quo of white privilege. Worse, at its core, all these aspects contribute to a deep-seated racism or ableist perspective, which is a humbling realisation. I need to continue to challenge and change my own beliefs and bias, and also to challenge others around me as well as the system. Milne and Berryman et al. Consider that changing the system is more than saying a few karakia or te reo words in our classrooms. Change involves a shared partnership, which means respecting te tiriti, listening to mana whenua and whānau, and understanding and unpacking the funds of knowledge students come with. Alongside this, envisioning that success for some students may look different from our white way of thinking. When I ponder these ideas and question my relationships with whānau, I am sad to say that I have very little. The structure of my role and the way I teach 540 students in a year does not allow me time to connect, but more than that, I have realised that I myself make little effort to engage with whānau or to authentically unpack those funds of knowledge. There is so much learning I could be gaining from students and whānau with so much cultural diversity in our school. But even greater than this, we are not going to change the system if we don't seek out those who see the world differently from ourselves and seek to understand their perspectives. This is where Claire's learning on networks really brought some aha moments for me. Her teaching on social capital and networks gave me a framework to understand why I feel isolated. Thinking about our school relationships and resources not as a hierarchy but an interwoven web of connections was challenging and eye-opening. Concepts like homophily helped me see clearly how many of the networks I exist in are bonded homophilic and echo chambers of ideas. This learning has facilitated my thinking about how I need to change. I was blaming others, deficit thinking, for not including me, but now I realise that if I want to hear others' perspectives, then I need to bridge networks and build relationships with others inside and outside my school community, including whānau and other professionals. Instead of surrounding myself with like-minded people, I deliberately need to seek out the other and work in collaboration with them to wrestle with issues. My last motive is an observation of how I approach change and challenge. I have been raised a peacekeeper. In my family, arguments were rare. This belief has spilled over into work. I take a backward step as soon as things get into the conflict zone. The learning in this course has raised a lot of uneasy emotions and a realisation that I actually need to be able to sit in those uncomfortable emotions and learn from the conflicting feelings. to learn to be able to separate my ideas and suggestions from my sense of self, to hold them more lightly, and to be open to others' perspectives is an important skill to continue to develop. We need robust conversations to really change and to challenge the education system. Being able to strongly collaborate with others allows challenge and brings that different perspective. I notice that my collaboration has been more of the weak type, asking advice and sharing resources. I also have realised that if we are trying to change equity for our minorities in New Zealand, then strong collaboration is necessary, especially with people who sit outside our comfort zone and beyond the school environment. And as I am also learning in educational leadership, Robertson suggests we need to be open to learning, which means really listening to understand and communicating our own views with reasoning, hopefully finding common ground. What will I do now? I've listed a number of action points which you can read while our final music plays. I hope you've enjoyed my presentation on my learning in this course. Papoia te kakano, kia puawai. Ngā mihi nui.